So people think me and Fouad had a falling out. Okay,
right.
If I had a falling out with Fouad, he wouldn't follow me. I wouldn't follow him.
Yeah. But you guys, you're so tight.
I think the one thing that people fail to do is stay true to their morals and who they are as a person.
So, Guy, what was your decision to retire?
And I'll show you why. Ready? I'll show you.
Yeah. We're doing the amateur hour here, and people coming up should really realize and maybe think about this. So I've never thought about it. I've competed a lot. I've never ever thought about that.
So, welcome to Bodybuilders Amateur Hour with host Josh Thorne, Jamie Peterson. I just make it up as I go along.
Yeah, I know you are.
Andrew Kefke and Guy Cisternino. Yeah. Definitely not getting that one wrong. There he is. Thanks for joining us, big guy.
Absolutely, man. What's going on?
Man, this is it, dude. We're super excited. I know I don't know when people are going to be watching this, but right now it's pretty late in the evening. So I think we're going to call this Bedtime Stories with Guy.
Perfect.
Let's call this podcast Bedtime Stories with Guy. He's going to help us get ready for bed. Hopefully not give us any nightmares. All right, buddy?
I gotta lie. I got too many stories.
I know.
A lot of stories behind this guy.
Yeah. Before we get going, I just want to remind everyone to like, share, subscribe, and there you go.
Hit the bell.
Hit that little bell button. Thanks, guys. It's something, we just got to do it, I think. I don't know if it actually works, but...
Listen, I get it.
Yeah.
Like, subscribe, comment, do it all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Comments are important. Comments are fun because we reply to pretty much all of them. That's
even the bad ones.
Yeah, even the bad ones. You have to, right? Like keep them coming. All right. So, Guy,
so Florida. You're in Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. This whole week, filming for Blackstone. So it's been a long day today. Was up early, cardio, trained, and then trained at Revive Gym today. Trained last night. It's just nonstop. It's like just fucking camera in your face all day. Go, 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 go. It's like the days just mesh together as one. And then I'll be on a flight on Friday back home.
Back home. That's
and cool. You love it too. You love every minute of it, don't you? We got a little.
I love being able to. Yeah, I enjoy the fact that I'm still able to do it. But the older you get, the more you appreciate like the finer things in life, like being home with my dogs, close to my friends, my family. So I enjoy that I'm able to still be a bodybuilder, even though I'm not on the stage as a bodybuilder. So I'm very blessed to have built a name for myself in the industry because. A lot of guys that compete, they lose sight while they're competing that there's a bigger picture to bodybuilding, and there's a business entrepreneur side that you have to capitalize on, and you can't capitalize on it when you're retired. You have to capitalize on it in the moment, and a lot of guys can't do that because they can't understand that we're meatheads, right? And I was that in the beginning too. And you're like, all I want to do is eat, train, do cardio, and fucking prep, but that's not how you make money. Yeah. Like I won, I think I took totality. Like even with all my pro wins, I think I won maybe a total of like 30 grand in all my years competing. So 30 grand in all my years competing isn't a lot when you divvy it up. So you can't
didn't
really
do it for the money.
A lot of money from body. Unless you're Mr. Olympia, no, you can't. Unfortunately,
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm blessed to still be in that threshold of guys that are still relevant. Thank God.
Oh, I know, right? That was actually going to be one of you kind of started it off with one of the big questions that we had from the question box that we put up on Instagram. So that's one of the big ones where there's so many pros out there and so many amateurs that are trying to make it to the pro leagues, and then they just fade away, just trickle off into the distance, right? They do a couple shows, might do good, might not. But then how did you stand out above so hundreds and hundreds of other pros to make it to where you are and doing what you're doing? You're retired, but you're still kicking ass, dude. You're still like one of the more popular bodybuilders. The 212s, like you're just giving her, like, and it's like how did you do that when so many other people either have failed or maybe just haven't tried or don't know how to do it?
I mean, the best advice I could give to the two things I never did. I never changed who I was for a camera. And I think the one thing that people fail to do is stay true to their morals and who they are as a person. A lot of people tend to be chameleons, and what happens is they see what's going on in social media and they try to adapt and change color to what's happening on social media. And like, oh, well, if Regan Grimes is doing this, or Chris Bumstead is doing this, or Nick Walker's doing this, I have to post the same thing. And I was just always me. I always said how I felt. I know I ruffled feathers along the way, but nothing I ever said on a podcast or on an Instagram, I wouldn't say to anybody face to face. Any issues I had with people, any arguments I had with anybody, like when there was the issue with Sean Ray, I confronted that face to face at the Arnold a couple of years ago. I'm true to who I am. That. My family. I had a conversation with somebody the other day about the top 5 most important things in my life, and I said it's faith, family, friends, my dogs, my house. That's top 5. So those are the top 5 things that I don't tolerate disrespect with or from or of. And I've always been a man of faith. I bless myself every time I walk off the stage. I thank God every time I give a speech. It's the first thing I do. Yeah. And even with the cancel culture shit, I was never a part of that. I was never a believer in any of that shit. And even through all the shit and the vaccines, I spoke my mind respectfully. I disagreed respectfully. But the one thing that I can say that I did better than anybody was I was me. And a lot of people aren't themselves on social media. Yeah. They post how great relationships are and how much they love somebody. And the next thing you know, they're getting a divorce, and how great somebody looks, and I'm going to win this show, and then they lose, or all these cars they have, and then you find out they're leasing Lamborghinis and not really. So it's like bodybuilding has a tendency to be like a very big facade that people give off, and I never gave off a facade. Like if you know me and you watch, I don't post about look at my house. I don't post look at my cars. I post. I think when I got my TRX like one time, everybody's like, why don't you post what? And I go, because why am I going to post what I have? There's people that don't even have a vehicle and they're walking to work, or they're riding a bicycle, or they're hitchhiking, or they can't put food on the table. So just because I am able to enjoy the fruits of my labor doesn't mean even though I worked hard for them, doesn't mean I have to showcase everything that I do and what I have and what I and what's in my bank account. Like that's not what it's about. It's about inspiring and trying to get people to get to the place where I am and comfortable and successful and be a good bodybuilder and a good role model and speak their mind, even if it hurts sometimes. So the number one thing I can say, honestly, is just that I always stayed true to who I was. I have friends in high school and college, and some of the best compliments I've ever gotten, my buddies from college, like, man, I remember you back in college and like acting the way you act. And they're like, the one thing I can say is that no matter how successful you got, you never changed who you were as a person.
Dude, like
that's a big compliment right there.
Yeah, it's the best compliment you can get.
Yeah.
And so, what do you think kept you grounded this whole time? Like when you're doing so well, you're succeeding, you're on the Bro Chat for a while. Now you have your own podcast, and that's going really well with freaking Nick Walker. So that's pretty damn cool.
Yeah.
And but doing all this stuff and like having so many people all over the entire world know who Guy is. How do you stay how do you keep that composure?
How do you keep yourself grounded? Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Through all that.
Like I know. Go ahead.
No, go finish.
I was just like, I know from this podcast and from my Instagram and whatnot, I'm pretty well known around locally, and a little bit throughout Canada. It's getting bigger, but and it feels great. I love it, but it's not why I'm doing it. We do this podcast for educational purposes for amateur bodybuilders, and but it's starting to come back, and it's quite nice. I like it, and but it's no Guy Cisternino popularity, obviously. We don't have obviously, but it's nice.
You got to start somewhere, though, Jars.
But yeah,
Always start somewhere.
100%. And
but then
I have a tendency to cut people off, so don't. So
no, it's all good, man. Give her.
So for me, number one, I don't like when people say like, "Oh, you're a celebrity," because I'm not. A celebrity is
your legs are though.
My legs are celebrity status.
Okay, sorry.
That quad drove for nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's a whole different story, and how that I'll tell you guys how that came.
That's good.
When people say you're a celebrity, I think of watching TV and the celebrities and the red carpet and the Grammys and the screaming fans, and I think most celebrities are selfish. I think most celebrities are in it for themselves, and I think most celebrities who call themselves a celebrity, they put themselves in a category above everybody else. And the main thing that I tell fans that meet me, or they get nervous when they meet me, they're like, "Oh my God, you're Guy Cisternino." I say the same one-liner to them all. I'm like, dude, I'm just a guy that likes to work out. Like, that's literally like, and I sometimes I'll be like, dude, I'm a loser. Like, there's nothing to be nervous about.
I'm a loser.
I'm just a guy. Like, I'm just a normal dude that fell in love with working out. And because I fell in love with working out, bodybuilding just was a byproduct of my love for working out. And that's truly what it is. I still find it hilarious when people see me in public and they're like, "Oh my God, you're Guy Cisternino."
It's like,
because it's funny because, growing up, I never expected anybody to ask for an autograph or ask for a picture or want to meet me or go out of their way and wait in a line for me, because I look at them and I'm like, who the fuck am I to be waiting in line or to have fans waiting in line for me? Like, I'm just a guy that enjoys working out, and I bodybuild a little bit. And so for me, it's very humbling when I see people that say those things and they look at me that way, because I don't look at myself that way.
Right.
Ever. Yeah. I've never looked at myself like I was above anybody, better than everybody. I always look at myself as an equal. And, something that like Fouad would say, like on Brocha, he'd be like, Guy knows everybody, or Guy's friends with everybody.
Guy's friends with everybody. Everybody loves Guy. Yeah.
And it's because of two reasons. I'm a good guy, I'm honest, and I'm a dickhead. And all three of those things are a necessity. And the reason is because there's not a lot of friends that will tell their friends the truth in hard situations. There's not a lot of friends that will tell you you're wrong in a situation where you're wrong. I have friends that have cheated on girlfriends, and the girlfriend leaves them, and then they're calling me like, "I don't know what to do. Like, I want her back. I love her so much. Like, I don't understand why she's dating another guy." And I'm like, well, time out. You're getting mad at your girlfriend because she left you after you fucked all these girls? Like, dude, not for nothing, but like, you can't get mad that she's dating somebody else that stabbed her in the back. And those conversations, and it's not just about women, but it's about anything. And like, you with a buddy who had a person dog sit for his dog that's a puppy, and it destroyed his house. And his house was in shambles when he got home, and he was pointing the finger at the kid. "This is your fault. You should have did that." And he was right. The kid should have, but I said, "Bro, not for nothing." I go, "It's kind of on you, because your dog is not trained well. And even when you're home, the dog doesn't act appropriately. So as much as you want to point the finger at your buddy for not doing what he was supposed to do, it's kind of on you for not training your dog the right way." So it's just little things like that. Yeah. Me being honest, and then there's me being
right.
Then there's me snapping at somebody in front of a hack squat, or or getting Sean Ray's face when he was disrespecting Sean Roden in public at the Arnold dinner. Like, I am who I am, and my morals are my morals, and I will speak the truth whether it hurts or not. And I think people respect that. However, a lot of people don't like that, and that's why I have the people that just fucking hate my guts on a daily basis.
Call them out on their shit. You don't like that. Nobody likes that, right? Sometimes it has to be done.
100%.
And Guy, that's from your upbringing with your parents, right? In New Jersey, and it's just blatantly you say what you mean and what you feel.
Yeah, I have the best parents. I mean, everybody says they have the best parents. My dad, and my mom, my mom has smacked me across the fucking face with 8,000 rings on her fingers. My dad has punched me in the chest when I was in high school and tossed me through the door in my bedroom into the closet because he got close to me once we were arguing, and I got big chested with him like this, and he me. Bang, right in my chest and fucking pushed me through my bedroom door. But nowadays you do that, and kids are like, child services.
You're done.
Every time my dad hands on me, I deserve it. And the
your dad was a black too, wasn't he?
Yep. And the reason why I am is because my parents were the way they were. I never even smoked pot until I was 30 years. I didn't try weed until I was 30 years old on New Year's.
That's awesome.
Because I was deathly afraid of my dad. Because I was at a light coming home from football practice in high school, and I'll never forget what my dad said. Because my dad caught me chewing tobacco.
Oh, okay.
And he said, "I will go to jail
Jamie.
for killing one of my children before I allow them to get addicted to drugs." He said, "If you ever fucking do drugs, I will kill you or your sister or your brother, and I will go to jail because I'd rather go to jail than be alive and watch my kids go down a rabbit hole of drugs." So out of respect for my father, now it's a different story. Weed's legal in Jersey. I smoke weed all the time. My dad accidentally went in my cupboard one day and got sent to the ER because he overdosed on weed Rice Krispie treats. So he knows I smoke.
Oh, don't eat those ones, not those ones. Yeah.
No.
And now every time the kid's over, he's looking for those Rice Krispies.
Yeah.
My dad won't eat. My dad will not ever touch a Rice. My dad's friends bought him a huge Rice Krispie that was about this big, and when they went on a hunting trip, they put it on his bed. He lost it. He will not eat Rice Krispies ever again.
Scared him right near to death.
That's it.
Yeah. That's it. No, not having no more of that. It fucked me up big time.
Nope. Ruined him.
I had my little French bulldog too. He get into my stuff too. Poor little fella.
So
Didn't hurt him, but
what happened to him?
He was out of it for he was sketchy and he slept a lot, but he was good. I mean, we talked to the vet, and the vet said it'll never hurt him, but he was spaced out for a while. He liked it, I think. He had a big smile on his face, but he's only a little tiny French bulldog, right? So anyway,
my dog, I think I took my dog to the emergency room and then ended up leaving because I went downstairs. My dog was on the couch, and she was it looked like somebody had a faucet of water in her mouth, and she was just drooling and drooling, and I'm like, and she was soaked, and I'm like, I rushed her to the vet, and they checked her vitals, and they're like, her vitals are fine. So I sat there for 3 hours, and nobody checked, and after doing research, I was like, this bitch is high as hell. I'm getting the hell out of here. I just took it and I fucking went home.
Oh dear. It's funny what they'll get into if you leave something around.
I don't even know where she got it from. I think I might have been smoking outside, and she either got like the little piece of a joint, or like some of the ashes, or I spilled some bud, like a little sprinkle of bud on the floor, because I don't know, because I'm very OCD, neat and clean, very very OCD when it comes to being neat and clean. So my house is spotless. So, and all my weed is up in the cabinet, like you can't get to it. So she sniffed it out somewhere. I don't know where the fuck she got it.
Yeah. Well, even if it was a little roach, it shouldn't have been that much, right? But maybe it don't take very much. I don't know what I had left in my pipe neither, too. So
enough to make her realize she didn't know how to stop. It was enough to make
Yeah.
me understand she didn't know how to swallow anymore.
How do I do this? How do I do this? Yeah. Oh,
That's-
fuck. Yeah. They're fun. They're fun. They're fun. Poor little lads.
Yeah,
The best.
that's great. Yeah, man.
So, Guy, retirement. Oh, sorry, Josh. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Before we go into retirement, I just have again, this podcast is called Bodybuilders Amateur Hour. I just want to go into a little bit about your amateur days before we go into the complete opposite. And yeah, we're just super curious about like your first couple shows. When did that happen? How did that take place?
Wow.
How you did?
Oh man.
Yeah, man.
So
Like it, like
first
what,
show.
like why the hell did you even step on stage in like for the first time? Like,
So
I remember the story about that.
yeah, here it comes.
yeah,
So
Yeah.
I was a football player my whole life. Like growing up.
everybody's a
you're
football
a kid,
player. Oh,
Yeah, everybody wants to be a pro football player.
It's high school
basketball
stuff.
player, basketball, tennis, like whatever it is. Yeah, yep. Like you want to be like that NFL player, and make those $1 million contracts.
yeah,
And when I was in high school, actually, I started out very, very young. When like the sand weights were still a thing, those sand-filled weights with the plastic around them. I had a setup in my parents' garage, and in my parents' garage, my dad butchers during deer season, so we have like a big J hook on the ceiling that looks like a J. And then that's where you throw up the hooks and you hang the deer. So what my dad did was he rigged one of the pulleys on the J hook, and we attached a rope around it and a wooden handle that was small and then wide. And then we had 50-pound weights that literally looked like a can. It was just full metal and steel. And it just had like a little thing you can grab it and pick it up with. So we tied it to that. And that's how I did my tricep push downs, my lat pull downs.
Nice.
And we had a bench in the garage. And I used to like crank Rocky music in the garage like a maniac. And then when I got into high school, I was small. I graduated high school at 165 pounds. And, you know, I was getting my ass kicked on the field. And I was like, well, you know what? I can't stretch and get taller. So the only thing I can do
Yeah.
is get stronger. I started training in the gym. And I fell in love, believe it or not, at an early age with working out over football. But I continued to play football all through college, to the point where when I was in college, I would go through practice for 2.5 hours, go into the locker room, eat a Nitro Tech bar, change my clothes, and I'd be the only football player in the weight room working out after football practice. And my friends still to this day tell that same exact story.
Old Nitro Tech bars.
I remember Nitro Tech and I was like the shit back in the
Yeah,
day.
I do. Yeah.
Muscle Tech made the most money of selling flavored sugar than anybody I've ever met.
Yeah, man. They were so good. They
were.
Not much of anything.
I think one scoop of Celtec was like 79 grams of carbs, and it was all sugar.
Yeah.
Horrible for you.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
so I was working at GNC in college. The manager, her name was Mary. She had a boyfriend his name was Mike, a jacked guy, and he came into the work one day to visit his girlfriend, and he was like, "What do you do?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like,
Yeah.
"What do you do?" I was like, "I'm going to school to be. I have a history degree. I was going to be a history teacher." And I was like, I'm going to school to get my degree, and I play football. He's like, why the fuck are you playing football? I'm like, because I enjoy football. He's like, you got to do bodybuilding. And I was like, dude, I said, I follow bodybuilding. I read all the magazines. I have all the encyclopedias, all this, all that. I go, I don't have a fucking clue as to what to do for a bodybuilding show. And he's like, well, if I give you a diet, would you follow it? I was like, yeah. So he literally wrote me a diet on a piece of paper.
Okay.
I started following it. I started following it at the beginning of summer. I had a show picked out in August, and it was August 9th of 2003. And 9 days before that show, I got an email. I don't know if it was a scam to this day, but the show got canceled due to lack of competitors.
Oh,
And I remember sitting downstairs on my computer, and I was like, I was sitting there, and I looked at the computer, and I was like, do I just go to McDonald's or up the road? I'm like I don't know.
I think I would.
Literally,
what to
like,
do.
what? Yeah, I was in front of my computer for 5 minutes, and I'm like, do I keep dieting? Do I just go to McDonald's and pig out? like, what do I do? So I Googled bodybuilding shows August 9th, 2003, because the next week I had a report for football camp. So I only had that week.
That one week.
Okay.
Or that was it. I found a show in West Virginia. It was a NABA show. I called the promoter and I said, am I still allowed to do the show? My first time competing. I'm from New Jersey. I don't know anything. I don't know what I'm doing. And he told me, yes, this is the date. This is what you need to do. Show up on this day to sign up. So I had a Ford Bronco 2, and I took it into the mechanic. I spent $1,300 to get it fixed up, whatever it needed. And I told him, I said, I need this thing to make it to West Virginia and back. That's all I need. So me and my cousin Glenn jumped in the car on a Wednesday, drove 9 hours to West Virginia. I competed. I'm sorry, it was on Thursday. I competed on Saturday. I won. So NABA went short, medium, tall class.
Yeah, back.
I was.
Okay.
Yep, I was in the medium class. I won the novice. I won the novice over, and I had no family members there, no friends. So I won the novice class, the novice overall, and then I won the open, and I lost the open overall to now current pro Fred Smalls. That was when I first met Fred in 2003. It was the first real bodybuilder that was that big that I actually met. And me and him clicked. We became friends. And then from there, I'll never forget being on a stage in front of people I didn't know. And the crowd, I remember doing my quarter turns that my coach never showed me how to do quarter turns. So when they called out the quarter turns, it was one of the most embarrassing things. Because they called us out when we were sitting there, and I stood like this. And they're like, quarter turns. I was like this.
It's like,
Finally, the guy in front of me started.
Cops line up.
Like so the guy in front of me was like this. So I have the video. So you see me on the video go like this. In front of me, because I was like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing right now. Like, I'm getting fucking destroyed. And then they went to the mandatories, which I obviously knew. And then I'll never forget, I came out. My first fucking song ever was
yes.
DMX, X Gon' Give It To You.
Go right.
And I remember, like, I walked off stage after I won the novice. And I was called my parents. I'm like, I just won the fucking novice class. I was like, I gotta go because I gotta go back out. Hung up. I won the overall. I said, I just won the fucking overall for the novice class. I said, but I gotta go back out. Hung up again. I won the open. I ran back in. I was like, I just won the fucking open.
You're like, what is happening here? Right?
It was crazy, man. It was such like a word. And I remember after that show, I was like, this is what I want to do.
You're like hooked.
What'd you weigh in for that show, Guy, in your first one?
162.
162. That's pretty good size though for your first show at 5'5".
I mean,
blows me out of the water.
Actually, if you want, I'll show you. Hold on. I think I actually have if you want to really laugh at how ridiculous I was.
You used $26 of McDonald's. I bet you pigged out then, didn't you?
That was literally the worst mistake I've ever made.
That's good.
I could probably rattle off what I actually ate, and I gained. So I felt so sick that I actually couldn't drive home because I was so fucked up from eating so much food that by the time I got home the next day, I'm not even joking, it didn't even look like I competed in the bodybuilding show.
Oh yeah, there you are.
That's your first contest. Yeah.
Yep, first ever.
That's what.
So and the trophy.
That's wicked too.
The trophy was 6 feet tall, and I had to put it in my Bronco sideways, and about a foot of it was sticking out the back fucking thing.
Dude, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's we don't really get trophies like that anymore.
No, and that trophy got so big at one time when I was moving, I was like, fuck this thing. I just threw it in the garbage.
It's like just yeah.
It was huge. I was like, fuck this thing.
Yeah. So that was quite an experience for your first show to really put the persistence in to keep going. You had that week and you did the work to get there, so you were finding a way no matter what. That's the determination that you have. Awesome.
Yeah, one thing that people praise me for is that no matter the high stress situation, I'm somebody that has a lot of bad luck, and with all my bad luck, I can still. I've had friends die, family members pass away, funerals, weddings, just like accidents, burns, broken bones, surgeries, and I still just somehow find a way, man.
Yeah, I just know from listening to Bro Chat, like all the fucking stuff that you've been through. How's your leg anyway from getting tased?
So it got tased and then it tore. So that
right, yeah. How is that healing?
It's fine. I mean, it's complete. I mean, you could see where the tear is, but other than that, it's not like super bad. Like if I was with Martin Fitzwater today and Brett Wilkin, we were training at Revive, which is a phenomenal gym in Stuart, Florida, and Martin's like, I'm not even fucking. He's like, I'm being serious. He's like, and I know you wouldn't. He said, but you could easily do classic now. He's like, you're fucking peeled. And he's like, what do you weigh? I said, 189, 190 on a good day. And he was like, dude, you could easily do classic. I'm like, yeah, but people say that to me all the time, but that's not my wheelhouse. That's not where I made my name. That's not where I made my living. So, and I want to be remembered for what I looked like when I was 210 pounds on stage, not when I was 180 smaller. So I like this side of bodybuilding, especially now. And I know that sounds harsh to say, like, especially now, but back when I started bodybuilding in 2003, there was no social media, no tripods, no cameras, no instant famous, no instant glorification, no self-righteous, no you're owed something. No, you can be a pro bodybuilder by never being a pro bodybuilder because you look like a bodybuilder because you have following on Instagram. Like, I get that that's just the changing times and I have to adapt. However, that wasn't bodybuilding to me. It just wasn't.
Yeah, we're just more of a show. It's just all it is. Yeah. Like all of us here, we all started competing back in before Instagram and social media.
Everybody here competed?
Oh, yeah, we were all...
Yeah. I got 31 shows in.
Well,
I started when I was...
You got a couple. You won a couple titles with your fucking shell about to collapse.
Yeah,
a couple.
Yeah.
So I'm 50 now, and I started when I was 18. But I started training at 15. So, and I've been doing it ever since, competing right on through. I never stepped for a few injuries, biceps and triceps. It's been straight through.
What about now?
Yeah, no, I was getting ready for the Toronto Pro last June, and I tore my bicep 3 weeks out. So I healed up, and I'm going to go around again and qualify and head off to Toronto again.
Now, can I? Like, I don't know what you guys talk about on here, but like, are you natural or I don't know what you guys cover.
Oh yeah, everything for sure.
Yeah, we talk candid. We're candid on here.
Lee Priest was on here not too long ago, so.
Oh yeah, then I don't need to. He's
you're golden.
He's staying at my house for like a week in October. So
Oh my God. Okay, so we definitely have to get you. Yeah, well, we're gonna contact you back in October.
We have a seminar.
I never laughed so hard in all my life. I couldn't even hardly talk. I never laughed so hard in all my life.
He probably didn't talk about the fucking getting cut by his wife and getting
by
the guy. All of it. All of it.
He loved it.
Fuck. He's
what I want to ask you is honestly, because I'll be like, I have a fairly high calcium score genetically. I was born with a small hole in my heart, and based on like what the bodybuilding, I guess, culture has seen, I'm 41, and I'll be honest with you, taking Geaar of any sort of extent beyond what I take right now, which is 200 mgs of test a week, that is it. Does being 50 years old, knowing all the stuff that you know, does that bother you at all? Because like I'm 41 and my buddy's like, just take a little growth and some primo and like it and I'm like, no, like I am so afraid at 40 years old because I've known how long I've been doing it and taking Geaar. And granted, everybody says it, but people can fucking say bullshit. But I never pushed my limits. I never went over certain doses. I usually underdose what my coaches had me do. But at 50, like I have a guy that wanted to get ready for a show, and he sent me his blood work and what he was doing, and I'm like, dude, you're 53. Like, what are you doing? Like, first of all, and this is no disrespect, I don't know what you take, but he was taking, and I said, nobody at the age should be taking fucking drugs. Like it blows because it's the worst drug in bodybuilding that you could take. And I'm like, the fact that you're taking it and taking it at that amount, I go, is mind boggling. And his blood work, thank God he sent it to me because I was like, you're about 1 day away from a heart attack. So my question is at 50, have you gotten a calcium score test and do you get blood work done? And have you got like EKGs, echocardiograms, like CT angiograms? Because for me, especially after my best friend Sean Roden passed away, like that fucked me up big time. And then it was, prior to him, it was Alice, and then it was Luke, and then it was Sean, and then it was Cedric, and I mean, George Peterson, John Meadows. I mean, the list goes on. And George was 37, John was 49, Sean was 46. Like, I hear guys that are 50 still competing and taking Geaar, and I'm just like, really? Like,
I think sometimes
does it sit in your head? Does it ever haunt? Because it haunts me at 40.
It does. I'm wary of it. Go ahead, Andrew.
Go ahead, Andrew.
You guys hear me? I was just saying, I think at the lower level sometimes, like when I first started, when the internet came around, that's when a lot of the information came about like drugs, basically, right? So I think that sometimes at the lower levels, there's guys doing more stuff than there is at the pro levels because the bullshit on the internet, like the bro science, like people are taking like just ridiculous amounts, and I did some stupid stuff too because you believe the bro science, right? And I definitely worry about it now, and I'm the same as you. I don't go over 200 milligrams a test now, and I still worry like what's going to come to me in the future, right?
Yeah, it's scary.
But that's my
so when I hear guys,
you can't. You have to have.
I've never been much of a guy with real high dose. Maybe younger, just getting into things and trying different stuff to grow. But as I got older, I just find I do little as I possibly need to. I do get blood work done. I take my time off. Like say, if I'm on for 3 months, I'll take 3 months off, and I'll go kind of a cycle like that. Or most of the times that
when you say off, do you
off.
Because when I used to come off, I was off. There was no TRT dose or cruising. When I came off, it was Clomid, HCG, and then nothing. So when you say off, are you?
Well, that's what I used
on like 200.
No, the last time I come off, I was at 125 for a TRT. But I've been off and just go cleanly off for 8-10 weeks with nothing and then come back and start again. But my doses are really low. Like one guy, a guy we know that's quite popular, he asked me, we were doing the gladiators, and he took a look at my protocol. He asked me, he said, "What are you doing?" Because he said I was looking pretty good. He said, "What are you doing?" And I told him, and he said, "Are you kidding?" He said, "Well, your diet is bang on." Because I've seen protocols from others that they show me on their phone and they just scroll up. And that's what they're doing. He said, "What you're doing is perfect." So it's just another guy telling me it's perfect, but I do get my blood work done. I do it well whenever I get off. It's probably once a year, maybe twice a year. And if the doctor says it's good, I don't question it.
Yeah,
I don't look at it. I don't know.
Our blood work is a little different in Canada too. So it's not
really?
Yeah, so we're not able to go in and every couple months or whatever to go get it checked.
No.
Which is kind of absurd, but
we gotta make an appointment, and it's gotta be kind of a reason, and and then it's waiting time, and you kind of time it, and then get it done when everything's been down for a while, or it's even just best to do it when you're on, to see how the levels are when you're on too. But my highest on my test would be 350. That would be my and I do a little growth, and and then like maybe my max on my Deca would be 2, and that's what I run.
Yeah, I can't.
So I mean, if I do
I tried throwing Deca in like a year and a half ago, and it fucking ruined my prostate for like 3 months, and I was like, "Fuck this."
Oh, really?
Yeah, fuck my not like I didn't have, but like if you, I didn't know anything about prostate issues until I took Deca, and I was like, "What the fuck is going on?" And I was like, "Oh," and I stopped taking it. And obviously, anybody that stays in your system for an extended period of time. So I had like those issues for a couple months, and then went away, and I was like, I'll never touch that shit again.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. I feel good. I feel my heart checked. Well, no, I don't. I'm not going to lie. I don't know how I would get you.
Because
I could ask for that, though, Guy.
I would, because that's the thing. My blood panels, even when I got checked a couple times when I was on, just to see how bad it was. It was never horrible. But when I had the heart issues, it was when my blood work was the best. So that's the scary part, is that I think what happened is, and I'm not saying this is going to happen to you, but what happens is that we bodybuilders only rely on blood work, and they think the blood's fine. But the blood has nothing to do with the issues in your heart. It's not going to tell you if you have a high calcium score. It's not going to tell you if you have an embolism, if you have a leaky valve. It's not going to tell you any of that stuff unless you get your heart specifically checked. And after Dallas passed away, my best friend freaked out, got all these tests done, found an aneurysm in his heart. He had a through-the-roof calcium score. He ended up changing his whole entire life, his eating, his this, his that. And he begged me to get my calcium score checked. And I'm like, dude, my heart is fine. I got a fucking ultrasound. I did an ultrasound of my heart. I did what was the other thing I did? I got blood work, and it wasn't a nuclear stress test, but it was something else. And then he was on my ass to get my calcium score done. So I was like, fuck it. Insurance doesn't cover it because it was a very new test back then. And I paid for it to get done. And luckily I got it done. My calcium score was fucking, and my blood work is fine. My cholesterol's fine. My fucking HDL, LDL, my everything was in line, but my calcium score was fucking through the roof.
Yes.
Wow. So yeah, that's something that again, like everyone nowadays, within the past year or so, or maybe 2 years, I've been preaching blood work, but you don't really hear that too much.
Heart health. It's heart health.
No,
heart check.
Yeah, that's the first I've really actually heard of that, really, to tell you the truth. I'm not going to lie.
It does sound like pretty simple. Sounds pretty simple. But
we eat a lot of red meat, a lot of high fatty foods, peanut butters, nuts, this, that, a lot of protein. We put our heart through a lot of stress, cardio, gear, you name it, right? And what happens is it's not the heart. So you take a straw, right? If you start putting shit in a straw, right? That's another analogy, because that analogy is, it's hard for them to gauge calcium, because if you take a straw and you turn a straw, if you take this water bottle and fill this water bottle all the way up, it's eventually going to overflow the top. But if I put water in it and I do this, now the calcium isn't going to spill out of the water bottle because it's just running along the line here, and this is all open on the top.
Right.
So they can't really tell where the calcium is when they do that, because they have to open you up to see it. However, it's not the plaque, the hard plaque you want to worry about. It's the soft plaque, because what happens is, which happened to Sean, which happened to John, which happened to Cedric, is the soft plaque breaks off, travels down, and causes a brain aneurysm or a pulmonary embolism. And that's why these guys are dropping dead, because of that. Because they're getting embolisms or aneurysms because they're getting these little pieces of calcium or plaque that are breaking off. And when that reaches your lung or your brain and bursts, that's it. You're done.
Wow.
It's just terrifying, and I think it should be.
Yeah.
It's well, that's the thing. I tell people, if you bodybuild and take steroids or PEDs and you are not a little scared, you need to rethink it. And another thing I tell people too, I don't give a fuck who you are. If you're taking steroids, you're signing a certificate that you are going to die sooner than you should. It doesn't fucking matter if you took a high dose, if you're like me, you took a moderate dose, if you're taking bodybuilding drugs for bodybuilding purposes, I don't care. You will die sooner than you should have died, because at the end, and I made peace with that when I knew what I was doing when I started. I was mature. Right. I was like, the moment I start this, I know for a fact I'm going to shave some years off my life. And I tell people, you can't make peace with that, then leave it the fuck alone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's a very important message to put out.
Like I said, I shoot it straight, man.
Right? No, you have to. And it's great, now, especially for like this podcast.
Now I'm scared.
Right. I wouldn't say, well, I'm not saying be scared, because listen, I get people that get their heart checked and they're fine. But like when I got told my calcium score, my calcium score originally was 494. You're supposed to be 0. And then I started taking a statin, and then it went up to 695. And the reason why it went up to 695 was because of the simple fact that when you start taking a statin's job is to harden the plaque so the soft plaque doesn't break off. So the doctor said, when I went back, he goes, don't be alarmed. That is normal. When you take a statin, it hardens the soft shit so it doesn't break off, and it prevents more plaque from building up. So I'm on a very, very low dose of a statin, to the point where I actually have to eat shittier sometimes because I have low iron. I'm on the low side of iron. And I was so OCD with what I was eating at one point, because my calcium score was high, that my LDL was so low, the doctors couldn't even read it. It was 13, and they had to do a special test and send it out, because my LDL was so low, because I wouldn't eat chicken and I wouldn't eat for a year. I ate whitefish and bison, and that was it. I refused to eat any chicken or any beef at all.
Wow.
So how do you like training now that you're retired?
So I'm training a little smarter. I'm not saying that I didn't train smart when I was competing, but I tore my quad training with Branch in Houston a year and a half ago. Then I tore my quad after I got tased squatting. So for me, I'm like, you know what? It was stupid. But, I want to be challenged. Right? Like bodybuilding and working out for me was a challenge. It wasn't easy. It was hard. I had to challenge myself every day. So Nick Walker was bragging about the RP hypertrophy stuff. And I was like, you know what? Nick's not one for change. He doesn't like change. So the fact that he switched to this and he was bragging about it so much, I was like, let me just give this a fucking try. And it's just very slow eccentrics, full range of motion, slowing it down, lighting the weight, setting goals, increasing weight or reps every week. And I have to say that I actually fell in love with training like that. And the only reason why I fell in love with training like that is because I'm not good at it. And it's a challenge. And the challenge is to get great at training that way. So if I ever want to train the other way, the weight is going to be substantially easier because of how I'm training now. So slow and controlled and eccentrics and exploding at the bottom and full range of motion, sitting in the hole or pausing at the top. And I didn't do that stuff when I was training. Back in the day, there was no FST7. There was no John Meadows fucking mountain dog training. There was no Y3C. There was no RP hypertrophy. It was Charles Glass. I called him every day on the way to the gym. I said, we got chest today. What are we doing? And he goes, all right, you ready? I said, ready. It's like 4 sets of this, 3 sets of that, 5 sets of this, 3 sets of that, 4 sets of this, 4 sets of this. You're done. Got it. That's how I trained every day for years, 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So I definitely don't train as heavy, hard, and nutty. Even when I train with Branch, we both look at each other. We're like, nah, my shoulder bothers me. What are you doing?
I find it's more enjoyable.
Yeah.
Huh?
I find it more enjoyable without pushing yourself beyond like you used to, right? Like I don't lift the heavy weights anymore, and now I leave the gym and I feel young. I feel 10 years younger now than I did. Like I'm 58 now, so when I was 50, I felt like my body was a mess, and now I feel like I what's it called? Where de-aged myself over the last year, like just by not lifting heavy. Like I can go to the movies now and sit, and not like my knees aren't aching anymore. So
Right.
that's
I mean, I lost a lot. I lost a substantial amount of weight. Like I used to walk around the biggest I've ever was 242. I always hovered in the 230, and I think the lowest I've gotten was 185.
Wow.
Is my
So, Guy, what was your decision to retire? Like, I know you did your last show, Texas Pro, was it? And do you know? Did you know going into it?
Yeah, and I'll show you why. Ready? I'll show you why.
Yeah.
Because this is the easiest way to show people why. Because of this. That's about all I got.
The range. Is that from your surgery?
It's not. I wouldn't say so much from surgery as it is from. I wouldn't say it's surgery. It's from bodybuilding. It's from bodybuilding. It's from 15 years of football. Like I can't. Like if I'm sitting here like this and I want to raise up my.
Right.
I can't. Like if you guys do that, you guys can. Your arm can go way past. Like
Not too much more.
Like
everyone at home now is trying it. Everyone's like,
yeah, I know. Well, let me see me. But so what happened was fuck that. So I'm lucky. I'm lucky. I have the rotation to get my hand in my ass crack to wipe my ass half the time. So for me, it was the fact that I would look at photos and be like, "That's not how you're supposed to look." Like I would do my front double bicep, and I couldn't turn my
range it back enough
the right way. I couldn't pinch my back, and then I would go to hit my back lat spread, and I would get stuck because I can't fucking move this open, and I can't get my lat out. And I'm like looking at myself, and I'm like, dude, you're 40 years old. These kids are 25, 26. Like you're almost like embarrassing yourself. So after John died, I said, I got one more, and that's it.
Yeah,
one more. And I said, unless I qualify for the Olympia this show, I'm done. Yeah. And I went to Texas Pro, and I think I got like 6th. But one thing that the IFBB did for me, and Bob Ciccarello was actually in Dallas, and he said it to me, and he goes, the IFBB did something for you that they've never done for most people. And I go, what do you mean? He goes, did you ever win an Olympia? I'm like, no. He goes, you ever win an Arnold? I said, no. How many guys get to give a speech and have a send-off the way you had at Texas? And I was like, no, nobody. Yeah. He goes, they did that for you because of who you are and what you brought to the and the fact that you're always in good standing, you're always doing the right thing. He was like, they did that because they respect you. And he was like, that should be a testament to who you are.
This one right here.
They allowed me to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that play?
Can you hear it?
No.
I can't hear it now.
Okay, yeah.
No, I can't either.
The audio will come in afterwards. But yeah, it's playing. But
I was a mess. I was hysterical. Huh?
Yeah, this was
You look.
Let's see here. No, yeah, this was we can hear. We'll be able to hear this like in the post. So
when it airs.
Yeah.
Yeah, they caught me off guard, and I was talking.
So yeah, you mentioned John Meadows and Luke in here.
Yeah.
Yep.
I can kind of hear Josh.
Yeah.
Really? Maybe the volume's down?
Well.
The crazy part about the speed is that I didn't know that they put pyrotechnics behind me. I had no idea.
Oh, really?
When I hit that last shot and those flames came out and I saw the picture, I was like, who photoshopped that? And they're like, what do you mean? I go, who put all that stuff in the background? They're like, that was there, you idiot. I go, where? They're like, they lit it up when you hit the shot. I was like, seriously? They're like, yeah, the fucking background blew up like the 4th of July. Yeah, I had no idea.
Well respected, Guy.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
But that was very hard for me to do.
That was my question for kind of like for me, because like I said, I'm 50 and I probably did, since I turned 40, I probably did 10 shows. And I won my overalls in my 40. I never won overalls before. I competed 31 times. And I put it out there that I was going to be done, going to retire, whatever, but it just never happened. I just didn't see. I just seen like there was something else to go for. And I love bodybuilding. I love competing. And if I could take that part of it out, because I hate that part that we just talked about. I don't like that. But I mean, if I could take it out and go that way, but that's just not the way I like to showcase myself, I guess. Yeah. I want to be at my best, and I don't know. Unfortunately, to compete, you have to and be in the running. I like to win. I do not like to lose. So you have to be competitive, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Josh.
Yeah, I beat him in the last show.
Oh, you guys
beat him.
Yeah,
I beat him before, though.
Yeah, we're going back and forth.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah. You beat him when you were young.
That's true. Yeah, I guess you had a. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, maybe when you're young.
The way I viewed it, man, was this: is that if I couldn't be better than I was at my last show, and not a better version of the worst me, meaning
right
when I started to go downhill, I didn't want to be better than the last downhill version of myself. I wanted to be the best version of me ever. And if that isn't possible, then the best version of a subpar me wasn't good enough for me. Because that's, as a pro bodybuilder, anything besides better than your best to me is not good enough. And I was not displaying a physique that was even close to my best because of how I looked and my injuries and not being able to do things. So I said, do I want to be remembered as one of the best 212 bodybuilders, or do I want to be remembered as a guy that hung on too long? And one of the people that I look up to the most, not in bodybuilding, just somebody whose career that I look up to, is Barry Sanders. He was the running back for the Detroit Lions. Why? Because he was one of the running backs to ever do it, and he fucking left when he was on top of the game. He didn't wait till he was fucking injured or had all these fucking problems or was pulled out and now second string running back, or wait until he got drafted to another team and sat the bench just because he was making a paycheck. He got out when he was still fucking really good. And I was like, you know what? I'm not great, but I'm still pretty fucking good. So you did everything you could. I surpassed every expectation that I thought I was possible of doing, because I say it all the time, people go, you don't have fucking good genetics, my ass. Look at my parents. My genetics are nowhere near bodybuilding fucking cult like
right.
Understand that one.
Like, don't tell me what my genetics are, because some guys don't have to work for the gains, and some guys can take a little bit of gear, train fucking 50% and grow like a weed. Some people can take fucking gear, train their balls off and gain an inch. That was me. Yeah. And I worked for every fucking damn inch that I got. And when I couldn't get the inches anymore and I was losing fucking centimeters and not gaining inches, I was like,
right.
That's the time. Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
that's very clear. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
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 I suppose periodically, every so often, I kind of seem to win an overall. Like I just won the 2021 Flex Lewis Classic. So I was 48, I think 48,
Okay.
a couple of years.
But like
whatever.
that's the problem. Now it's like you're that's like, oh, awesome. I'm gonna just keep going, and
Yeah,
then
I know. That's
and then
because it was my best look, and for me at 48, saying, well, Jesus, that's my best look now. What else do I got left? So now I set my sights on the Toronto Pro,
right.
and maybe with that,
You're a pro?
no, it's the qualifier.
Oh,
The
okay,
pro
right.
qualifier. Yeah. So, and I mean, I'm a master's, right? So there's just, I mean, I know people talk about pro cards and blah, 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 but it's just an accomplishment. It's not to say I'm going to be a pro like Guy.
Yeah.
That's not what it would be. It would just be another accomplishment. So
Yeah.
but there is going to be a time where things are going to be noticeable, and it'll be, and I like you, I will not let myself look anything else but my best. And when I don't think it's my best, then that'll be it.
Yeah, like if I didn't play football and if I didn't play football for 15 years and have bad shoulders, I can tell you guys wholeheartedly, I would still be competing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, everything on me feels great.
Yeah, that was gonna be one of the questions. Like, yeah, if stuff was still working well, you would be still you'd be giving her. Would you be up on the Masters Olympia?
Nope.
I still be kicking those 20-year-old, 30-year-old asses, bro.
There you go. I love that. Fuck
Awesome.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of the Masters Olympia, I see those guys getting ready, right? And I'm not going to name names because I don't need my fucking friend thinking I'm bashing them, but I'm watching some of these guys I competed against, and I'm like, you guys are going to get ready for a Masters Olympia, and you're going to look just like it says, a Masters in an Olympia. And I have no aspiration saying, I'm doing the old man fucking Olympia.
Yeah. Okay, fair. Like that's
the last thing that I want is a fucking old man photo of me looking nowhere near as good as I should. And let me tell you something.
And they'll be doing comparison photos, and you'll be like,
yeah.
And I'll tell, but I'll go on a limb and say this: if I was getting ready for the Masters Olympia, even right now with bad shoulders, based on how I looked right now,
right,
I would be top 3.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I trained with Brett Wilkin today, Martin Fitzwater, and Blessing was at the gym at the same time, and we were all bullshit.
Oh, nice.
Martin was like, dude, you look fucking retarded for fucking what you weigh. He goes, you could easily compete or do classic if you wanted to. I said, I know. And he goes, but you don't want to. I go, no. Yeah, he goes, why are you so lean? I go, because I'm still at heart a bodybuilder. I go, but even though I'm bodybuilder at heart, I go, see where we're standing in this gym? I go, this is the shit I love. Me being here with you guys, watching you guys push weight that I can't do and pushing as hard as I can to see if I can match your reps or your sets. Like, that's fucking fun. Like being in the gym with my boys and training and fucking doing fun shit and having a laugh and pushing and screaming and spitting and clanging and banging and cursing and fucking it. That's what
that's the shit.
This is why we do it in the long run. It's just what we love.
There's a big difference in people. There's a difference between somebody that is a bodybuilder because they work out, or somebody that works out and because they work out, they're a bodybuilder. There's a big fucking difference in those. I never worked out because I wanted to be a bodybuilder. I worked out, and bodybuilding was just a byproduct of me being in the fucking gym. I never ever worked out to be a bodybuilder. I worked out because I fucking loved working out, and I still do. That's why. I wake up every day, and I do cardio every morning. I fucking train every day besides my scheduled days off. And one thing my friends know about me, they'll know. They're like, you're all right. I'm like, I'm just in a shitty mood. Why? Did you not train yesterday? I'm like, no, I had to skip, but I'm making it up on Sunday, and I'm pissed. Like, if I don't work out, I'm not a nice guy. I don't care about missing meals now. I don't care about missing fucking. The only thing I will not miss is my training session.
Your train. That in your Starbucks.
No, that's not good.
Right. Yeah.
The Starbucks 0.3 miles right down the road. Don't think I'm
See,
not
yeah, there he
every day.
goes.
Every day.
Every day. Good.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. So, like, Andrew, how are you doing with retirement?
Honestly, I don't even miss it. Like the competition side, like
Andrew, when's the last
I don't
time
know.
you competed?
When was it, like 5 years ago, I think. So
Okay.
53.
But
But
Andrew
I
also,
wouldn't.
he's been competing for quite some time and has a lot of titles under his belt too.
Yeah, mostly local stuff. But whatever. I don't know. I feel like I overachieved in bodybuilding for myself, but I love, like I'm like you. I love working out. I love testing myself and pushing myself, and I wanted to be working harder than anybody. But now I'm just like, no. Go ahead.
No, go.
No, now I honestly I do workouts that I thought I'd never do before. Like I'm back to like just feeling the muscle and left the least amount of weight just as long as I feel it. And I do 20 reps and I don't bench. I'm like, I follow that ditch the barbell routine. And I forget the guy, this name that called it, but it's a lot of cables and a lot of dumbbells. And honestly, my body feels great. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, my
I'd
show.
like to be a little leaner and
Do you follow a diet or anything, or
now.
Yeah, like-
On a good week.
like
On a-
what did you say?
On a good week. Yeah. But I feel
I'm
up
not-
to it.
I try to stay within a calorie range more so than, like, sometimes I'll prep like a bodybuilder and then sometimes I'll eat just whatever, but I'll keep track of the calories. But so it's not, I don't really worry about the macros so much, but I'm kind of still protein focused. And I don't know, I'm still in my mind, like, I feel my best when I'm training, when I'm eating like a bodybuilder, but
Right.
I don't feel my best if I train like a bodybuilder. So I do the
If
I
I
do the
told you
workouts. I call them.
If you knew my daily schedule, you'd be like, what?
Yeah, probably.
So is everyone here still weighing their food?
I'm still doing it.
Right. I don't think that's something that will ever really stop.
I'm
not
kind of
knowing
cheap.
how many grams
I'm kind of
of-
cheap too, and I don't want to eat too much protein for the money. I want to make sure it's just enough.
I'll show you how OCD I still am. If I can find the fucking, I don't even know where the fucking lights are in this shit. Jesus Christ.
You got a big place you're staying at. Holy smokes.
Yeah.
So this is PJ Braun's parents lived here. They moved out and got another place, and their lease on this isn't up until I think another month. So they were like, "You want to come down instead of staying in a hotel? They're like, just stay at our old place." So I was like, "Absolutely."
Hell
But
yeah.
like,
Right on.
I'm traveling right now, right? So here, you want to see like this? So this comes with me wherever I go.
That's your, oh yeah.
I am.
All my pills. Okay.
The vitamin.
I got bison in here, turkey,
Nice.
potatoes. I went to the store, eggs. I got sirloin. I got ground sirloin.
Oh,
I got Ezekiel bread.
oh man, I'm getting hungry. I just,
Yeah.
and I
Josh
got
is
my-
dieting, guy.
yeah,
Really?
He's starving. He's starving.
starving.
Now I'll get in. I'm gonna give you my spiel on starving. So hold on. So I don't eat this because I only eat fried foods, cream of rice, but I forgot it. So I bought the Uncle Ben's without the guy on it because that's cancel culture. Now we don't have people.
Yeah, I
on
can't
this.
have the guy on it.
My basmati rice. I got my peanut butter,
Peanut
and then I
butter.
have. You look over here. I don't know if you ever heard me talk about my poop shake.
Oh,
That I'm
yeah.
I'm right here. It's a Trojan horse. It's this is my fiber. This is Species Fiber Lies.
Oh,
the bag.
nice. Oh, you go with species.
To
That's
my-
awesome.
Yeah, for the fiber. Yeah, and then this
Yeah.
is juiced up. These are the little packets. So this is all the stuff that I travel with. All my supplements and all. This is my glycolog, my GDA. So I still, to answer your question, yeah, and people think it's weird and it's crazy, but if you actually think about it, if you're actually a real bodybuilder and you love the the sport and you love the process, then you never fall out of that kind of shit.
I 100% agree for sure.
I'm going to give you a little life lesson about what you said. Okay, what did you just say to me before?
Oh, Andrew said I was
starving,
or JB said I was starving. I'm fine.
I'm fine.
Well,
I'm fine. You're allowed to be.
So
hungry.
this is going to be. Well, no, you're not, because I'm going to tell you why.
No,
this is what I tell my clients.
I said that. I shouldn't have said that. Fuck.
I knew this was coming.
Yeah.
So because I've had this conversation, and I'm glad you brought it up because I hope more people hear it. If you guys wonder why I'm always in a hoodie, everyone's like, "Why are you always in a hoodie?" Because I keep wherever my house is always freezing. I like to be in a hoodie, so it's fucking freezing in here. So when somebody goes, "Man, I'm starving," or like, "Dude, like this cardio, like it's so much cardio." This is verbatim what I say every time. I go, "You're not starving." Because I've been all over the world, and I've been to places where, as bodybuilders, we're eating 6 times a day.
Oh, yes, sir.
It may not be, it may not be the food that you want to eat because it doesn't taste a certain way, or it's not a burger from Burger King. Well, let me tell you something. I've been to places where I know for a fact these kids are lucky if they eat 6 times a fucking week or a month, let alone 6 times a day. And I know for a fact that I know people without legs that are missing their foot, or they got something blown off in war, that would literally do 23 hours of cardio for the rest of their life to have both their legs back. So I tell people, don't ever fucking complain to me. If you're starving, you're just mentally fucking weak or hungry. You're not starving. Because I don't care if you're eating fish and asparagus for every fucking meal of the day, you're not starving. Starving is having a kid in India knock on your window when you're at a light and going like this. Because they're starving with no shoes.
That would be like, man.
That's starving.
Yeah.
And cardio thing, when people complain about, I go, "Yeah, you're complaining about doing cardio? I'll get you on the phone with one of my buddies that's missing a foot or a leg. You want to talk to him about bitching about cardio? You want to see what he has to say to you?" And people go, "Wow, you're right." And that's how I put my life in perspective when bad shit happens. When something bad happens, I'm like, you know what? That sucked, but it could have been this, could have been that, and it wasn't. So as bad as it is, it's not as bad as you think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though sometimes it's just figurative speech saying we're starving, but we're really not, right? We are really not.
Yeah.
Yep. You'd be surprised some clients that I message me. You think the fucking world's ending, and I'm like, dude, stop. Like it's not it's fucking drink a diet soda and shut the fuck up.
Yeah, and it's also our choice, their choice, right?
Yeah.
Right. So we're choosing to be hungry. It's like, so shut up.
Nobody's telling you have to bodybuild. Yeah. I say bodybuilding is, in a very short phrase, it's a self-induced torture. Yeah. Nobody's telling you to do it. Not one motherfucker's making it. There's no people talk about, my camp. I don't give a fuck about your camp. Chris Aceto is my nutritionist. That motherfucker wrote me a diet. I love Chris. Me talk all the time. Was Chris cooking my food? Was Chris making me fucking my meals? Was Chris fucking making sure I ate? Was Chris watching me on the Stairmaster? Was Chris sitting at the gym making sure I lifted my balls off? Nope. Because you want to know something? He just fucking told me what to do and said, "It's up to you to execute it. I'll call the play. You run the fucking ball, and you better fucking run it."
Yeah. There it is, right there.
Yep, that's it. In a nutshell, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's great, man. It's like, it's just, it all makes sense when it comes down to that, right? And it's
all about perspective.
I got another question, Guy, too. It's Tell us about your experience with diuretics and tanning. What happened there?
Oh, you when I got burned.
Yeah, like, because that should be we're doing the amateur hour here, and people coming up should really realize and maybe think about this.
Yeah.
So I've never thought about it. I've competed a lot. I've never ever thought about that. So what happened?
You look on the back of medication. So I was stupid is what happened. I didn't do something that you should do and just read a fucking label. When I was taking out Dactone in 2017, leading up to the New York Pro for my third time, I was going for a 3P. I won it in 15, 16. I wanted to win it in 17.
Mm-hmm.
And I went, I think it was on a Wednesday, and I woke up, oh no, it was Tuesday, because I woke up Wednesday morning and I had these, I'll show you the pictures. Actually, you could probably pull them up. I just posted it not too long ago. Believe it or not, if you could share, I'll tell you exactly what post it is.
Is it? There's
if
one.
You scroll down to the post right here, of me showing my back. If you pull up that post, you can see. And I can, if you pull it up on the screen, I'll give you a play-by-play of what happened.
Let's see. This one.
Yep.
Yeah. So that was the morning I woke up after tanning.
Okay, yeah. So that was, yeah, that's pretty wild. That it almost looks like bruising in this picture.
It does.
So I'm trying to see.
It's burnt from the inside, right?
So we have that one. Then
so what happens is, so now, so that one right there. So the first one you just saw, that was me.
Yep.
The morning I woke up.
This one here.
Pictures for Chris, and that's how it started.
Mm-hmm.
Now the next picture is the following night. I woke up at like 3 a.m. and I didn't know what was happening, and I rushed myself to the emergency room. And I was in the emergency room. They loaded me up on prednisone, this, that. And that was when I came back to the hotel before Chris looked at me. And that's how it started to look.
Yes.
Wild.
And then if you keep going, go to the next one.
Yeah.
That was right after prejudging, after I was in the ER. You could see how swollen I am from fluids and this and that.
Yeah.
Okay. If you go to that was right after prejudging. That was 1 week later after it all happened. Yep.
It started. Those are burnt scars.
Yep.
Holy
exactly.
Fuck.
So
it's like down on your legs and everything, right?
Fuck yeah.
I don't know if there's. Is there any other photos, or I think that might be it. Oh, that was this right here. This part of my arm.
Hold on a second. Let me 1 sec. That was what part?
That was right here.
Right through there.
My arm. And then if you go back to it, it actually looks like it peeled. I have a before and after. So if you swipe again, you can see where it just like fucking fell off.
Yeah.
That's
what.
Oh
yeah.
So again, what caused that? We want to make sure what.
I was taking Aldactone, or I think it's pretty much most diuretics. I went tanning, and on the back of Aldactone, that was right. I actually still have these marks. If I took my shirt off and went like this, you would see a big bruise right here. It looked like. Yeah. So what ended up happening was, and that was a kid. This was another kid who had this just happened a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I think this was what your post was about. This guy.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Fuck.
Yeah, that is.
And Guy, that's quite painful too, isn't it? I mean, obviously, right?
Yeah. So I ended up what ended up happening to me. The terminology was called a phototoxic reaction and a fixed drug eruption, meaning the drug in what happens is in the back of Aldactone it says do not go in sunlight, do not go in UV lights. Who fucking reads that shit? Right?
Yeah, no.
So I went to make a long story short, I got burned from the inside out. So I ingested the Aldactone. it got into my system systemically and went all, into my bloodstream. And then when I was in the tanning bed, it boiled me from the inside out. And that's why it took days for it to come to surface and finally look like a burn. And I was in the emergency. I went to the ER. I walked, when they started putting the oil on me backstage, I was sitting there and I was almost in tears. I was in so much pain because they were rubbing me and I was just going,
oh, fuck.
Oh. I walked out for prejudging. I hit a couple shots. I walked off. I walked in the back very subtly, slowly packed my bag, trying not to like get upset. I fucking slowly left the show. I walked to my car. The show was still going on. Drove to the hotel. My girlfriend and everybody, my parents were still, I didn't tell anybody that I left. I didn't text anybody until I got to my hotel. Yeah. And I fucking went to my hotel and I texted the girl I was dating. I said, come to my hotel. I need to go to the emergency room right now. And I texted my family. I said, I'm sorry, I love you guys, but I'm going to the emergency room. And I went to the emergency room. They gave me something for pain. They said they didn't have a specialist on hand. So I had to drive to another hospital down near where I live. And I was there for 5 days. They thought I had a severe form of skin cancer, believe it or not. They poked and prodded me for 5 days straight.
Before they kind of figured out what was happening.
They actually never really figured it out until months later. I left the ER still with a big question mark going, I don't know what's
Oh man, that was scary. Shit. Holy.
Very scary. I was literally like, I pulled the doctor aside. I go, listen, what do you think it is? He goes, I'm not allowed to tell you. I go, what do you mean? He goes, I can't guess. It's against practice. And I go, okay. Yeah. I have been here now for fucking 3 or 4 days. You guys have fucking took, I don't know how many skin biopsies from me. You cut me, you poked me, you prodded me. I'm loaded up on Dilaudid and morphine. I haven't slept. I can only take fucking cold showers. You need to fucking tell me something or I'm ripping all this shit out of me and I'm fucking going home. That's exactly what I said. And he goes, he shuts the door and he goes, we honestly don't know what it is. He goes, it might be what's called sleep syndrome. And I go, what's that? And he goes, it's a rare and aggressive form of skin cancer. And I was like, great. I'm like, what do we do? Just like that. Right. I didn't get upset. I didn't get nervous. I wasn't, oh my God, it's cancer. I go, what do we do? And he was like, we don't know because we don't know if that's what it is. And then it turned out not to be cancer. And then even over time, they told me what it was. I kept going to dermatologists. They treated me like I was a science experiment. I would walk into a room, I had a Polaroid. There was 5 people in a room looking at me, taking pictures, sending them to fucking wherever they sent. I have no idea. But even to this day, I don't know what exactly it was besides what they told me, which makes sense. But what's weird is that sometimes something will happen and those spots that I still have on me, I can feel. They'll actually turn darker color, which is weird.
You can feel like it, like internally?
Or
feel physically.
Like, can you? Oh, it's wrong arm, guy, idiot. Can you see this?
Oh,
this
yeah,
mark?
You can see it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's right.
Yeah.
See it right there?
Yeah.
So like sometimes something will happen. I don't know if it's something I eat. I don't know if it's going in the sun. I haven't been in but I have one like under my chest, on my stomach. I have ones all behind my legs. And sometimes something will happen and I can feel it get hot and irritated. Yes. Actually be way darker than it's supposed to be. So I'm like, that couldn't be all it was if that still happens.
Yeah. Oh. Did you learn? Yeah, man. Have you tried any other like alternative ways of looking at it, like through like, not just our medical system, but going through like, what is it called?
Holistic.
Holistic. There,
bro. I stopped taking vitamins. I added vitamins back in. I was doing stuff that I was crushing pills, putting water on them, putting them on my skin, covering it up in a Band-Aid to see if it reacted, then ingesting it and taking notes. And dermatologists, I was writing things down, and nobody could figure it the fuck out. Nobody. And if I tell you what I eat every day, you'd be like, okay, it's definitely not that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hey, listen, you can't always have good luck.
Well, yeah. I guess not.
So,
Crazy.
Still here.
Yeah, man.
time we got?
So yeah, just one or two more questions. Then it's getting late here again. Bedtime stories. Whew.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're good.
Thanks. So yeah, you're down in Florida, and you're training with all these guys. Like, hey, again, what? How does one go about like getting like you've met so many amazing people, right? And you have so many connections all over the world, and you're like again, you have a podcast with Nick. Like, how does all that stuff come about? Are you just because you're the likable guy is likable, and like
I don't know. I really
like,
I don't. Some people know who I am. Jay Cutler came up to me in the back in 2011, my first Olympia. Walked up to me. I'm sitting on the ground next to Jose Raymond. He walked up to me. I was sitting down. He bent over. He put his hand out, and I was like, in my head, I'm like, "You got the wrong fucking dude, bro."
right? Yeah.
And he's like, "Hey, guy." I'm like, "Jay, nice to meet you, sir." And he goes, "Just want to say you had one hell of a year." I was like, "Thanks, I appreciate it, man." And then he walked away, and I looked at Jose. I go, "How the fuck does he know who I am?" And
Right.
it just like that. Just Jay texts me every day. I talk to Jay every day.
Like, yeah, how does that shit happen? Like, that is awesome.
I don't know. I don't like Chris Aceto like sends me pictures of athletes that I'm not supposed to see leading up to shows. Branch Warren, when he had the cast on his leg, was doing a photo shoot for MD. I walked up to him in the gym and I was like, this guy's my fucking idol. And I was like,
Yeah.
I'm going to talk hunting. So I walked up to him, I introduced myself, and I started talking hunting, and he just fucking went from being like, oh yeah, yeah, okay, you hunt. You know, last week I was in Dallas for Gas and Better Bodies for their anniversary and their homecoming party they had, and I was at Branch's house the whole week with Faith, his wife. Branch is one of my closest friends.
Nice.
He's one of that dude's like a brother to me. Jose Raymond, I'm talking to him all day today. He called me. Flex Lewis is I'm the godfather of his son. I'm the godfather of Sean Roden's daughter. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
And honestly, people go, why? And I'll tell you why. Because most people aren't a man of their fucking word. Mm-hmm. And that's why people like me. That's why people like me. That's why people hate me. But that's also why people respect me. Mm-hmm. Because if I say I'm going to do something, if I say I'm going to help somebody out, if I say I'll do this, there's not one person you're going to meet that say, Guy said he would do that and he didn't. Mm-hmm. Chris Aceto called in years ago. He goes, Chris called me for the dumbest shit. He called me one day because he couldn't get his keys out of the ignition. He called me one day because he had a client in Seattle that was getting ready for a show, would turn pro, had to lose weight, could not get fucking Diazide or couldn't get Aldactone to save his life. And if he didn't have the Aldactone, Chris goes, he's not going to make weight this week. Chris goes, he's got to get it. Can you figure it out? I'm not going to say how, who or where, but somehow I have contacts that I called somebody who called in a prescription for me at a CVS in Seattle, fucking Washington. And this kid picked up and he actually ended up turning pro. So there's just things that I'm willing to do for people that I don't know. Just because I just want everybody to do well. I want everybody to get along. I want everybody to succeed. And there's people that hate my guts, which I don't understand because I want my friends to be better bodybuilders than I was. I want all the people that follow me to be successful, make millions of dollars, and be lucrative 100%. In their life, and have everything they want. But if you look at me from social media and people are like, fuck that guy, he's a fucking asshole. But if you talk to everybody around me, people will be like, he's a fucking solid dude.
Mm-hmm. And on that note, if I could bring up something, you probably, on that note, about, just being respectful and wanting everybody to succeed. You started your own podcast.
Yep.
And now the podcast that you were on, we're not getting you're not getting a big what's the word I'm looking for? You're not getting a big praise from those guys.
Yeah, so
from doing your thing, and it's a little disheartening from what I've heard.
So when you so at, like on their podcast, have things been said? Because I don't even watch. Even when I was on Bro Chat, I never watched it. So
right.
I don't.
The last one, Fouad mentioned that you were doing your own thing, and that you just probably won't be on very much anymore because you're very busy.
So people think me and Fouad had a falling out. Okay,
right.
If I had a falling out with Fouad, he wouldn't follow me. I wouldn't follow him.
Yeah. But you guys, man, you're so tight. On the
listen,
show, that's how it comes across.
I still consider myself tight with those guys. Those guys might think differently of me. Okay, and I know this sounds harsh, but I don't care if they have harsh feelings towards me, because they can hate me. But at the end of the day, if there was a bullet coming at any of those guys, I'd be the first one to jump in front of it. Now, they might not do that right now, and that's okay, but I would still do it for them because I don't change my fucking colors. Number two, I had my own podcast. It was called Coming in Hot. I had Jeremy Buendia on it. I had Sean Roden on it twice. I did many episodes. When Luke passed away, I just reached out to Fouad, and I said, listen, I was very close with Luke too. Luke's girlfriend actually drew me a portrait of him and sent it to me because she knew how close me and Luke were. And I said, hey, if there's anything I can do to help out with the podcast, let me know, and I got you. So he had Nick on an episode, and then had me on. We did one separately while Luke was alive. Then I went on an episode of me, him, and I think he had like Paul on, and then it was Nick originally, and then it kept going. And then he's like, you want to do it again? I was like, yeah, this is fun. You want to do it again? Yeah, this is fun. You want to do it again? Yeah, this is fun. 2 years later, I was doing a podcast, and, I say that people are like, oh, well, if you weren't in it for the money, why did you start your own YouTube channel? Or why did you start your own podcast? And it was simple. Because, like I tell everybody else, those guys on the podcast, maybe they get paid, maybe they don't. Would three of you guys go to work for 2 years and never get paid? No. Nobody would work for free. No. And not that there's anything wrong with doing free stuff for people, because I do it all the time. However, I'm retired. I can't take a Bro Chat episode and bring it to my bank and pay for my mortgage at the end of the fucking month. I can't take a magazine cover and bring it to the fucking bank and pay my mortgage. I can't take fucking supplements and bring it to the bank and pay my mortgage. I need to pay my mortgage because I am who I am, and I need to do things. Guy is retired. Bro Chat doesn't pay Guy the bills, but Guy was giving a lot of time to Bro Chat. I love that podcast. I still think that podcast is great. I still think those guys. However, after the Toronto live Bro Chat we did, we went the next weekend. I had to go to El Paso, Texas to do an event. Fouad was there. Great time. Me, him, Samson, Ben hung out, laughed, joked, had a great fucking time. And then he called me and he asked me to be on the podcast again. And I go, and listen, is there an issue? I don't have an issue with anybody on the podcast. But I don't even say there's bad blood, but me and one of the guys on the podcast do not see eye to eye. And I told Fouad, listen, I don't want to be on the podcast because I don't feel comfortable because of A, B, and C. And he knew why. Mm-hmm. And he goes, well, we can have other people on that's not so-and-so. And I just said, listen, man, at the end of the day, I'm not going to be a floater on a podcast. And people can say this is ignorant, that I feel I helped as Nick. I think Nick, me, and Fouad were the reason that podcast blew up. Now, people can sit there and say no. Well, unfortunately, Bro Chat was me, Fouad, and Nick. Okay? The fucking shirt that came out originally was me, Nick, and Fouad. So anybody wants to sit here and bark at the fact that was the original Bro Chat crew, too bad. Me and Nick were very close. I asked Nick when he was on Bro Chat originally if he wanted to do a one-on-one. And he said, absolutely. And I said, awesome. Then he signed with Hostile. And Fouad said, no. Can't do another podcast with Guy, and that was I understood why. That's completely fine.
It's like
him and Fouad had his differences, and they parted ways. And that week, Nick texted me. He's like,
I'm free.
I was like, let's
Yeah.
fucking do it. And I got a lot of heat for it. But one thing I don't understand is that Nick's beef and Fouad's beef is not Fouad and Guy.
Yeah,
I don't
it's, yeah.
fucking beef. My relationship with Fouad is my relationship with Fouad. My relationship with Nick is my relationship with Nick. They do not intertwine with each other, and I don't allow it to. If Fouad was like, stop talking to Nick because I don't like him, we're not friends, I'd go, fuck you. If Nick said, stop talking to Fouad because I don't like him, I'd go, fuck you. Because I treat my friendships are individualized. Meaning, I have groups of friends. I have 5 friends. Maybe they don't like this one guy. Just because they don't like him and I get along with him, I'm not cutting him off because a couple of people don't like him. That's not. I don't roll like that. That's not me.
Right.
Okay. So I just said I didn't feel comfortable being on a podcast as a floater when I feel like I was one of the main guys that grew this podcast. And you know, if maybe the business side of things were structured a little differently. Do I think, you know, would I have stayed? Probably a little longer. Probably maybe forever. I don't ever think I'm not going to be on that podcast again. I just think there's a lot of dust in the air needs to settle. And Fouad doesn't get along or has had issues with certain people that I'm still friends with and are on the podcast. And I'm sure that bothers him in a certain way. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. That's okay. But I can't stop being Guy and doing things for Guy because there's another podcast out there. I want everybody. I think everybody should watch every single episode of the old Bro Chat and every single episode of Bro Chat moving forward. And on the same token, there is no fucking reason why they shouldn't watch your podcast, Mutant in the Mouth, and every other bodybuilding podcast out there because there's enough fucking pie to go around for everybody to eat. And all I wanted to do was just eat a little bit of the fucking pie because you know what? I know what I bring to the table as a bodybuilder and as an entertainer on a podcast. And I know my worth. And I wanted to get, I don't know what the word is, but I wanted to get something out of the time put in besides comments on a social media post. Like if I'm putting in 8-10 hours a week on a podcast and I'm getting no ROI, then I have a problem with that. So I wanted to do something that was good for Guy and good for Nick. And I wanted to start my own business or company or podcast by myself. And the fact that people took umbrage to that, this is what I have to say to the people that don't like I started a podcast.
Fuck you.
Don't care.
Yeah.
Because you know what? I've asked every single person the same question. Would you go to work for 2 years and not get paid? And the answer is no.
No. Yeah.
It wouldn't.
No.
And that's not saying, oh, well, Fouad, like people don't know what Fouad offered me. It doesn't matter what he offered. The fact is, I didn't get anything from that podcast besides talking with my buddies and having a good time. And that's what it originally was.
And
but
that's
then
where it started, right?
When you start handing out contracts and getting people involved in the business, and then what happens is that feelings and emotions get involved, and then things start the trajectory starts to turn, and maybe something. So then, who's feeling a certain way about this guy, and who's getting, I don't like that he did this, or well, I'm in contract now, so I have to. So I never gotten involved like that. I like being on the podcast because I like talking to my fucking boys, and I still consider Andy, Paul, and Fouad my boys. They might not consider me their boy because I started a podcast, but my praise and hope is that one day we can all fucking go on the podcast together and all fucking talk about how stupid all this shit was and
I hope
how
so.
But if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But at the end of the day, my podcast is my podcast, and I solely did it with Nick because me and Nick are close, and Nick is more intimate with me and opens up more because we're close and we have that relationship. Right. He was a lot more closed off on Bro Chat. He's not like that on Mutant in the Mouth, and that's the one thing that I wanted to bring out. And it was more so for Nick than it was for me. I want to do the podcast because I want to do the podcast. But I wanted to do it with Nick because there's another side of Nick that not a lot of people see that I know I can bring out of him. Just like I bring out the side of Branch that people don't see, or the side of people don't see, or the side of Sean Roden that people didn't see. Because I have that just that charismatic, like just like attitude that people just can open up to. And Nick's
it's comfortable.
Yeah. And I think you watch my podcast with Nick and you can see how comfortable he is. And that's all I wanted.
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to fuck anybody over or screw over this guy or fucking leave this or never. That's not. And I plan to go back to Bro Chat, but maybe they don't want me back anymore, and that's okay. But the dust needs to settle, and phone calls need to be made that haven't been made, and whether or not I think I should make them or somebody else should make them, that's a whole other fucking story. But I am hopeful that at some point all this shit will be squashed. This is just childish shit.
It is. Yeah. I hope so too. And it's just like you said, why can't we support everybody? Like,
right.
As like a fan of like a consumer of both podcasts, I watch both now, right? I was just watching the one, you started yours, now I watch both. It's that easy. It's super simple. Yeah. Just good.
Now, let me ask you a question. Is there a difference of mine and Nick's versus Bro Chat? Do you see a difference? Do you not see a difference? Are they very? Everybody calls us the Bro Chat rejects. I go, I don't think my podcast is anything close to that.
No, it's very different. I find just like the energy is different between you two. It's a little bit more like
it's almost like
right.
It's more down to earth too. I mean, it's not really like it is. Justin's on there too, and I watched the three of you and Nick and Justin, and my fuck, these are just like the three of us going at it. It's fun. It's fun to watch. I love it. Shooting, busting everybody's balls, and telling.
I think it just comes down to I think it just comes down to the energy and the way that everyone kind of interacts with each other, and like you said, brings out like you bring out something different in Nick, which the other guys couldn't do. So it just brings out something and different stories, different. Showing people a different way.
Nick is Buzz Lightyear. Nick is Buzz Lightyear now. Really, that's.
God, I almost fell off my fucking chair when I saw that.
Oh fuck! On your night. So I mean, just to watch Nick, and see that it just brings out and just shows that he's just like us. You guys just like us. It is fun.
Listen, at the end of the day, me and Nick, the guys on Bro Chat, we are very, very similar in a lot of ways. And as much as somebody says, I don't like this guy, I hate this one, or fuck this guy, at the end of the day, if the chips were down, we'd all be there for each other. And I truly, honestly believe that. Whether Nick or Fouad fucking believe that, or Ian and Mike believe that, or Paul believes that, I truly believe that if there was a situation where the chips were down, each one of us would be there for each other. Because I can say wholeheartedly to Nick, Mike, Ian, Paul, if any one of those guys called me right now and was like, I need you here right now, I'd be on a flight and I'd be wherever the fuck they are if they needed me. And whether or not they think that's true, test me and watch.
Right.
Yeah.
No doubt, buddy. No doubt.
This was great. Man. This was great, Guy. Great. Honestly, you're such a great guy. It's really down to earth. A lot of fun.
Really, dude. We really appreciate you coming on, man.
We can't be friends. Apparently I have too many friends.
Yes. Sorry. I was okay. I promise. I'll ease up on the texting. I was like,
I'll leave you alone now for a while.
Good morning. Good morning, Guy.
You don't want to text me because that's like an ongoing. I'm hard. Like, what did Nick text me? Nick texted me something earlier. What he said? He goes. He said we were in a group chat. He goes, "Did you ever talk to so and so?" I said I messaged him in the group, and he never responded. I go, so I figured he was like, "No, I'm good." And he goes, "Nah, he's worse than you with response." He goes, "See how late you replied to this? LOL." He texted me at 1:40. He texted me at 1:40 and asked me a question. I responded at 8:16 at night.
Oh, so it's just not
7
me
hours later.
This is just not me when we were talking back and forth. I was like, oh God, okay. Horrible. I was like, he hates me. Yeah.
No, I'm horrible texting. I have just today alone. If you look at my phone, can you see how many texts I have? I think it says 52.
No, God, yeah. That sucks.
Yeah, I see that and I'm like, I go like this and I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I don't want to fucking read it.
I had enough for today.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like, if it's important, they'll call me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Awesome, buddy. I really appreciate you coming on, man.
Yeah, it's a pleasure, man.
Thank you so much for spending all this time with us, especially so late after a long day for you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go eat, relax, and then fucking pass out in a little bit. That's it. Simple day.
That a boy.
Yep.
Good. Yep.
Oh, one more question. How do we get
All right.
Nick on here?
Oh, no. I just texted him. See what he's gonna say. I don't know.
Will he reply?
No, he won't reply right now. Definitely not. It's too late.
Yeah.
8, 9, 10. He's chilling.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do my best to see what I could come up with.
That'd be pretty sick. That'd be fun too.
You're the man.
So I go.
Sean,
I
right?
said, I'm on a podcast with these guys, and they go, "How do we get Nick on?" I'm like, ask him. And he goes, "Duh." So just message him.
It's like,
He goes,
Just
"Duh."
Sean
like he'll never see it. But we'll try. I'll try.
If you message him, tell me, and I'll send him your IG and be like, "Look this guy up in your DMs."
It's like I'll try. All right. Appreciate it. What
Awesome,
what did you say, Andrew, about Sean?
I said, can you get Sean Ray on here?
Probably, yeah. I know Sean.
That conversation would go over like a wet fart in church. It's not gonna
It's like not gonna happen.
No.
Yeah, I hung out with Sean a little bit at the Arnold's, but
Sean, right?
yeah, Sean Ray at the Arnold's.
I'm not gonna bash him.
Because
Like,
everybody
No,
says
that's fine.
I'm just not a fan, man. Just not.
No, it's all good. Not
yeah, I heard that a lot.
Great bodybuilder.
amazing. Yep.
Mm.
Not a fan.
It's like we actually even met at the Arnold's. You probably don't remember. You've met 1,000 people there.
What year?
Anyway, this year.
Where at a booth?
No, it was like by the doors. I don't know.
Josh remembers.
Oh, of course I remember. I came up to him like I
At
was like
the show or at the expo?
at the expo. I was like, "You're my favorite on Bro Chat," and I was like, fangirling over you.
And then I'm not on bro chat. And you're like, yes.
I was like, "He's gone." No, it was a brief interaction.
Dude, when I'm walking out of there, it's always like, hey guy. It's like I'm like, yeah, picture. And I like take 5 steps. God, I'm like, I just want to go fucking lay down.
I can imagine it'd be. I mean, not that your fans are your torture or anything like that, but you would get tired.
No. Yeah, it's 'cause you got to be on all day. You got to be on all day. Smiles, fucking, you got to be on.
Yeah.
Oh, I do remember this. Yes.
Yeah, they held I competed in the amateurs there, right? So.
Yep. Because I was like, oh, you want to? And then when I was like, show your fucking medal.
Yeah. So yeah,
That's awesome.
So we got reunited. Super excited. I was like, oh, yay.
Great. Well, I'll be on again. Just ask me anytime, man.
Awesome. We really appreciate it.
Anytime, guys.
Thanks, Guy.
Thanks, Guy.
Awesome.
Anytime.
Have a good night, man, and have fun. You're back to shooting tomorrow.
Yep. First thing
All
in the
right.
morning. Got to train friends.
Good stuff. All right.
Hard worker.
Trying.
Awesome. Thanks, buddy.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Thanks,
All
Guy.
right, guys. You enjoy your night and have a good night, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
Thanks for the
All right.
bedtime stories. Peace.
Thanks, brother.
Fine. You got it.
Peace.
You go, fellas.